The SAS Guide to Tracking, 3rd edition, Bob Cars with Stuart Birch. To my son, Ben Cars. It happened one day, about noon, going towards my boat. I was exceedingly surprised with the print of a man's naked foot on the shore, which was very plain to be seen in the sand. Daniel Defoe, Robinson Crusoe. Introduction. This book is about tracking, a serious subject in which I am passionately involved. It is not about the SAS. I was fortunate enough to have served in 22 SAS for 18 years, and whilst there, enhanced and developed my interest in tracking. That is the connection. Don't expect to find any state secrets in this book. The only secrets that I wish to pass on are those from nature, gained by the study and practice of the art of tracking. I hope this study will enrich your life as much as it has mine. I was born in the urban environment of Newcastle. My mother and father moved when I was very young, so I was brought up in Kelso, a small market town in the English-Scottish border. This was to be the start of my interest in country life and nature. I learnt a lot fishing and walking with my father, listening to and watching local people, and spending many days wandering the countryside as a young boy. By the age of 15, I knew a great deal about the countryside and the wildlife it supported, absorbing some valuable lessons that were to become useful throughout my military career. Leaving Kelso at an age 15, I joined the Army as a boy soldier. I enlisted as junior private Cars in the 1st Battalion of the King's Own Scottish Borderers, KOSBs, at Pennyquick Barracks near Edinburgh. I felt immensely proud to join this infantry regiment. At 17 and a half, after my apprenticeship, I was posted to my battalion in Germany. I later served with them in a number of overseas postings. I enjoyed life in the KOSBs. By 1971, I felt the need for a greater challenge, so I applied for and passed selection for the SAS, which is based in Hereford, the city which has been my home ever since. My service in 22 SAS took me all over the world, always in varied and interesting work. All volunteers for the SAS have to undergo jungle training, which forms an important part of the selection and continuation training. My initial jungle training lasted 10 weeks, conducted by the very experienced Regimental Sergeant Major, RSM, Geordie Tyndale, and his very experienced and enthusiastic team of NCOs who shared a passionate interest in jungle soldiering. The first phase of jungle training consisted of 7 weeks, 24/7, up at first light, learning SOPs, standard operating procedures. The second phase consisted of a 2-week tracking course, and the third phase was spent looking for illegal loggers. Learning to track with very knowledgeable and very experienced men who had survived years on operations throughout the world, brought to life all the things I had learned as a child roaming the countryside. It was hard work, but it suited me down to the ground, and this early period in 22 SAS was a deeply satisfying time for me. The SAS, like any sound organization, tries to match jobs with people's interests and abilities, so I was often sent to work in jungle environments. After 12 years service, I came out of 22 SAS for a short period, and then decided to go back in. This second time, I was 31 years old, not 21. I was fortunate to have 2 mates of mine rejoining at the same time, Stuart Birch, who helped me with this book, and Charlie C. We had all been in the same squadron and had served in the Oman War together. We completed and passed all of the 22 SAS selection again, including the jungle training, and we rejoined the same squadron we had left. The sergeant major was Roy Thomason, who has also helped me to complete this book. Fortunately, I was just in time for the Falklands War. After I came back from the Falklands, I had a serious talk with myself and decided that having lost 12 years seniority, I was not going to become a general. Thus, the best way for me to put something back into the system was to concentrate on what I know best, hands-on field soldiering. With a few more trips to the jungle and a New Zealand tracking instructor course behind me, I started to teach tracking and survival proper. When I was asked if I wanted the job of chief instructor at the Jungle Warfare School, I took it and spent over 2 years there teaching tracking. long-range patrol courses run on the same lines as 2-2 SAS jungle training, jungle warfare courses, and jungle maiden courses. Not long after I returned to Hereford, I was posted to 2-2 SAS training wing for 2 years, teaching mainly combat survival courses, that is, trapping, shelters, fires, food, and water, and going to the jungle to help set up jungle warfare training camps. After 2 years in the training wing, I was posted to a training area to assist a good friend of mine, RSM Jock Owen. Apart from other jobs to be done, I decided to build a tri-service survival area from scratch and to run survival weekends. The students in my first group were children with learning difficulties. The students in my second group were members of the TA, Territorial Army, comparable with the National Guard in the United States and with other such units around the world. The 2-2 SAS still use this survival area today. During my career with 2-2 SAS, I was fortunate enough to spend over 30 months actually in the jungle. Obviously, I've omitted a lot of information about my career with 2-2 SAS in order to concentrate mainly on subjects that have enabled me to write this book. Counting my service as a boy soldier, I spent nearly 25 years in the British Army, 18 of them with 2-2 SAS. I was given the opportunity to do what I do best, hands-on field soldiering. In this book, I pass some of that experience on to you. Back in civilian life, I have continued to take on an active interest in the outdoor country life. There is a great deal that I would like to pass on to others. I look forward to when I can go out into the countryside with my son, Ben, to whom this book is dedicated, and share with him my enthusiasm for the natural world. This book is designed to appeal to all ages, from all backgrounds, and the use of male pronouns should be read as meaning both genders. It draws heavily upon my personal experience and my military career, especially my practical knowledge of the countryside. Although certain chapters are of more immediate significance to specialist groups, I recommend that all readers sample all chapters. There is much to be learned from cross-fertilization of ideas in tracking, as in many other interdisciplinary subjects. The outdoor pursuits teacher will learn from the jungle experiences of a soldier just as much as an NCO instructor will profit from the lateral thinking of the psychologist. The book starts by putting tracking into a modern perspective by briefly looking at its development and then showing the present-day applications, describing the attributes the tracker is trying to foster, and defining tracking terms. From this baseline, the book progresses through a study of sign to development of the powers of observation, movement, stalking, and on to the track pursuit drill proper. Once the principles of the drill are established, we move to specific examples and chapters dedicated to advanced techniques. And finally, in this, the third edition, tracking is brought slap bang into the 21st century with a chapter dedicated to digital technology and its application to tracking. A short summary in outline form appears at the end of each chapter. These summaries have been collated into the aid memoir that makes up Chapter 27. The serious student and the instructor will find these a useful tool both for review and preparing for the next stage of tracking and as a critical prompt to memory in the field. Finally, at the back of the book, you will find 3 or 4 pages for you to record your own notes. Although you may wish to use a notebook, I thought it necessary to make the point that you never stop learning about tracking. You will learn new lessons from each follow. This book will guide you stage by stage through the various practices that lead up to tracking itself. If you are prepared to put the skills into practice as you read through the book, you will start to assimilate the knowledge straight away. By the end of the book, you will be well on the road to starting your career as a tracker. To be a successful tracker, as in any other occupation, you will have to adhere to the age-old adage that nothing is achieved except by hard, conscientious work. Read the book, follow the spoor. Good luck.